All right. Before I tell this story, I think I ought to say that I like blondes, and this is a blonde story. I mean, I like blondes no matter what color their hair was before they became a blonde. But anyway, this blonde gets on the airplane, a flight to Houston, and she's got an economy ticket, and she sits down in economy. She sits there a couple of minutes, and she gets up, gathers all her belongings, and moves up to the first class. Well, the attendant came up and very politely said, "May I see your ticket?" And she gave her the ticket, and she says, "Miss," said, "you're in first class, and your ticket is economy. You're going to have to move back to economy." And she says, "I'm blonde, and I'm beautiful, and I'm going to sit here." So the attendant sort of shakes her head and goes back and talks to one of the other attendants. The other attendant comes up and says, "Miss," said, "your ticket is for economy class. You're going to have to move back." She says, "I'm blonde, and I'm beautiful, and I'm going to sit here." So the attendant goes back and goes to the cockpit, and the co-pilot comes back. And the co-pilot says, "Miss," said, "I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but," said, "you've got an economy ticket, and you've got to move back to economy. You can't sit in first class." She said, "I'm blonde, and I'm beautiful, and I'm going to sit here." So the co-pilot, he goes up, and he says, "Well, I guess we better call the police to the pilots and have them get ready for this gal." Said, "I can't get her to move from first class back to economy." And so the pilot said, "Well, what's she look like? What's she like?" Said, "Well, she's blonde." And the pilot said, "Oh, let me speak to her." Said, "I'm married to a blonde, and I speak blonde. I can speak blonde." So he goes back, bends over, and whispers something in her ear, and she grabs her ticket and her belongings and moves back to economy. He comes up and he sits down. The co-pilot says, "Well, what did you do?" He said, "Oh," said, "I knew she was blonde, and I told her that first class went to Dallas and Fort Worth, and if she wanted to go to Houston, she'd have to go back to economy class."